Let's start the presentation because we already wasted some time. The presentation title is English Language Education in the New Normal, On-Site plus Online Learning. Yeah, just if you look at the uh, first slide, we will see here that I have just combined, I have blended, mixed face-to-face learning and online or distance learning. Before going to my point, let me start with the introduction to the new normal. We all across the globe have been through a lot these last few months. As a global community, we've been shaken, shut down, and transformed. Commutes have disappeared, ways of working reinvented, and lifelong behaviors changed for the first time. Simply opening the doors isn't enough to return to the classroom. In addition, we have all changed as individuals. Our habits, priorities, needs, interests, and expectations have shifted. The things that mattered 6 months ago can seem very different today. As we begin return to as we begin to return to the classroom, we all need to adapt to the demands of our new normal, not just with hurried adjustments in the short term, but with a clear view and vision of what the future may hold. That's a process that commences with clarifying and understanding what the new normal really looks like. So we are not, I'm almost sure we are not getting back to our past days. We are entering some new days, and we are not getting the past normal life. We are entering a new normal life. So when we are entering a new normal life, we have to understand that, we have to analyze that, we have to just plan our actions based on the demands of the new normal. Today's agenda, I have here included 6 points: online plus on-site plus online learning. It's also called hybrid learning or blended learning. Then the significance or justification of hybrid learning. Third point, the differences between online, on-site and online learning. And fourth point, hybrid learning is considered a mix of best practices. Fifth point, best practices in hybrid course delivery. And finally, assessment in hybrid learning. Let's start the points one by one. Let's try to understand what we actually mean by hybrid learning or blended learning. And I already mentioned hybrid learning is a mixture, is an amalgamation of on-site plus online learning. Yeah, I have just given reference to some scholars, some researchers. Hybrid learning is the thoughtful integration of classroom face-to-face learning experiences with online learning experiences. Next, hybrid learning combines the best of online learning and face-to-face instruction for the purpose of enhancing learning. Hybrid learning requires an intentional and integrated approach. So it's very much thoughtful, it's very much planned, it's not casual. And blended learning should mix on-site and online modes based on the needs and interests of the students as well as the institution, school or department or university or colleges. Here I have shown, visually shown what hybrid learning actually means. We have, I have just borrowed it from Bond 2010, and here we have seen that hybrid learning combines, blends two modes of learning: online learning experiences and of on-site learning experiences. We are traditionally in the Indian subcontinent, we are traditionally used to face-to-face classroom teaching and learning. And the mindsets of both teachers and students are for face-to-face classroom learning. But the COVID-19 pandemic have changed everything. Now we have to maintain social distance. Even we have to maintain physical distance. We have to take a lot of health precautions. So now, as in Bangladesh, in many places, many regions of the world, we we are dependent on online communication in every sectors, including teaching and learning. I mean, education. But yeah, the pandemic has a lot of negative sides. It's killing many people. It has stopped our living. It has damaged our economy. It has damaged our trades and business. It has damaged everything. Still, it has some positive sides. This pandemic has now taught us how to communicate with each other online. Now we are changing, modifying our mindsets, and we are now involved in online communication. Human beings are social animals, so we can't actually keep ourselves apart from each other, isolated from one another. We have to communicate. And as human beings are the most sophisticated creations of God, we have to discover some ways of communicating with each other. And now we have adopted and we are using the online mode for communication, the online channel for communication. As we are getting this habit, as we are getting accustomed to using online activities, using different technological tools for online communication, I personally think when we'll have a new normal life, we can be, we can combine our traditional face-to-face education with online education. And yeah, traditionally in this subcontinent, we have some negative uh, attitude towards online education or distance education. But now the pandemic has shown that it's not actually entirely negligible. It has some values. It has some importance. So I think, yeah, my advocacy is when we will enter a new normal life, I do hope very shortly we'll overcome the trying time. We'll be able to defeat the coronavirus COVID-19 and we'll have a normal life. But that life will be a new normal life, not an old normal life. So in our new normal life, we can combine on-site learning experiences with online learning experiences. And I think that would be better for the humanity, for human beings, because as if we think very carefully, we started facing the COVID-19 infection without any preparations. I mean, just suddenly the COVID-19 attacked us and we are completely unprepared. So a lot of damages took place. But this time we should have a lesson. There's we should have some sort of preparation for each and every situation, for the real situation as well as for the hypothetical situations. And I think if we can combine on-site learning experiences with online learning experiences, we will be able to give ourselves prepared to a substantial extent for any situations we face in time to come. Next point, why? I have already explained this point. I'm here just summarizing the point why we should use hybrid learning or blended learning. Because it allows teachers to address a variety of learning styles with a variation of instructional methods. It helps both teachers and students have the opportunity to develop their technological skills. It practices increase student motivation, student autonomy, and responsibility. It fosters more personalized instruction and flexibility. It creates opportunities for teachers to use online curriculum for basic information and extensions, review, and class time for Harvard thinking activities. It frequently provides a high level of interaction than usually experienced in face-to-face classes. If we think of face-to-face classes, for a course, we give classes 2 or 3 days a week, and when we give classes a day, we just give lectures or give classes for 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. But if we can use blended learning, I mean the combination of face-to-face learning and online learning, we see that the time constraint does disappear. It means that the students can study, the student can practice, the student can learn anytime, anywhere, according to their conveniences. Now, I'm just showing the positive sides of both on-site and online learning. Yeah, I have just put 5 advantages or merits of each of the mode of learning. Let's start with on-site learning. In on-site learning, teachers promptly reduces distance between students and faculty. Dialogue and collaboration occur in real time. There is a visceral connection to another person. Teachers can gauge the emotional, psychological state of the student. Teachers can easily change direction if events or circumstances require it. These are the positive sides of face-to-face learning. Now let's consider online learning. What positive sides it has? Online content, discussions, directions, etc. are persistent. Learning by the students is flexible. Teachers can repeatedly go back and connect with individuals and easily give feedback. Online provides a wide platform for rich media, video, audio simulations, and unlimited web content apps, software, and resources and sources. And finally, online courses enhance learner autonomy and learning by doing. There's self-learning. Now I'm going to point out some negative sides, the demerits of both the modes of learning. Let's start with on-site learning disadvantages. It can be difficult to remember pertinent information about students. Much of the content of discussions is lost in time, tied to a strict time schedule of several hours during the week, can only access limited resources in class. The ebb and flow of the class can be dependent on the tenor of student engagement. On the other hand, online learning also has some negative sides. Dialogue with students is difficult to create and maintain. Lack of immediacy, facial expression, names, comfort level, student motivation. Content and class activity is usually prescribed without any room for spontaneity. Discussion boards, unless strictly directed, can become somewhat chaotic. And technical content constraints can hamper learning. Just today, we face some technical problems and we had to lose time, patience, interest, etc. Now, let's see how hybrid learning mode is prepared. What characteristics hybrid learning mode has? Blended learning can combine, or hybrid learning can combine the best of face-to-face instruction and those of online instruction. Here I have just uh, shown some points. Number one, immediacy. Number two, dialogue. Number three, persistence. Next, spontaneity, flexibility, increased student responsibility, room for rich media and collaboration, ability to give constant and consistent feedback, available time. These are the different factors we have just extracted from the two modes, on-site and online learning, and extracting the different factors of the two modes. These are the best factors of the two modes, the best characteristics of the two modes. We have extracted them, we have chosen them, adopted them, and then we have mixed them. And this mixture is better than face-to-face learning as well as online learning. Yeah, I mean, I have here amalgamated the best practices of on-site and online learning. It's hybrid learning. Now we are living in a time of hybridity, and everything is hybrid now. So we should also give attention to education from the point of hybridity. Next point, best practices in hybrid course delivery. It's basically linked to the teacher, just how the teacher delivers course content or course modules. Number one point, providing opportunities for interactive and collaborative learning. So the teacher should try to deliver materials in such a way that the material gives chances to the learner students for interaction and collaboration and cooperation. Having a strong command of the subject matter and having the ability to design and present activities in online courses. So before going to implement online education or I mean hybrid learning, a teacher should have some sufficient preparations. She should have a very good command, strong command of the subject matter she is teaching. She should be able to design and present activities in online formats, providing both digital and print texts, since some students have difficulty reading digital texts. Hosting video lectures that help bridge the gap between faculty and students when not meeting face to face. Assessment to be adapted to fit e-learning expectations. And this point is very important. And in our subcontinent, in the countries, South Asian countries, actually, our assessment system is based on face-to-face activities, for example, written exams or oral examinations or viva voce or assignments. All the things happen face-to-face on-site. But when we are mixing on-site and online modes, we have to modify the assessment system and we have to adapt our assessment to the e-learning or online learning expectations, creating a learning environment that integrates social, cognitive, and teaching elements in a way that will precipitate and sustain critical reflection and discourse. All the things should be taken into consideration when we are going to deliver a course. And finally, this is my final point. I have here already discussed, I'm just summing up what I have discussed so far. First of all, I have tried to define what hybrid learning stands for. Then I have tried to discuss why we should use hybrid learning in the new normal time, the time that's awaiting us. And then I have shown how hybrid learning combines the best practices of on-site and online learning. And then I have shown uh, the points should be considered in online or hybrid course delivery. And now is the last point, assessment. I have already given a few words on assessment. Here I have just divided assessment, categorized assessment into two ways, formative and summative assessment. And formative assessment is for giving feedback. It happens while the course runs, and summative assessment is actually administered at some points of the at some specific points of the course or at the end of the course. And here I have just given 5 examples for each type, and I have also added the mode, which mode is suitable for which type. And let's start with formative assessment. Number one, in lesson polls, it's suitable for uh, online learning. Then self-assessment, it can be used in both the modes, on-site and online. Then partner quizzes, it's better to be used on-site. Presentations, it can be done both on-site and online. And peer assessment, it can also be done both on-site and online. And these tests or these types of assessment are administered just to see the progress of the students and give feedback so that they can just understand the feedback and do better, have better progress. And summative assessment doesn't give any feedback. And summative assessment is just for assessing what the learner will be able to do after the completion of the course, just for assessing the learning outcomes or course objectives and goals. Number one, course final examination. And I think it's very much familiar in our South Asian countries. Just it's actually given or administered on site. The students see it. They just it may be called a pen and pencil examination. An end of unit or chapter test. Just it especially happens in medical science courses, end of unit or chapter courses, item test or card test, and this way. Final projects or portfolios, it's better to be given and taken online. Achievement tests, and achievement tests are also given after the completion of a chapter or after the completion of a topic. And finally, standardized tests. There are some standardized tests. We can use them. For example, IELTS is a standardized test. We can use that. And it actually happens on site, we know. These are the points I have just included in my today's presentation. And now I'm open for questions from the audience. Thank you very much indeed. Hello, am I audible?
Hello, sir.
Okay. So now I invite, what's your plan? Can I receive questions from the audience?
If, if participants would like to raise any query, they can do, sir.
Okay, okay. Should I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. And let me just share the wonder points with you. Hybrid
Sure.
learning is a blend of the best practices of on-site and online English language education. It's consistent with the 21st century trends and demands. It might effectively work in the new normal, being shaped by the COVID-19 pandemic. It requires teacher training, learner motivation, management support, and technological facilities. That's all of my presentation. I must thank you all for your patience and support.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful, short and sweet presentation. Thank you for the insights you have given us, sir. We would be glad to meet you again in the valedictory function, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We hope that you would be joining us for sure.
Yeah, I'll try my best if God grants me.
Sure, sir. We have to. We would like to meet you
Yeah,
there.
when are you starting the
No,
valedictory
we'll be
session?
sticking to the time, sir. 3:30 will be winding up, sir. Definitely,
Oh,
because we have the.
it's almost 3:30. 5 minutes to go.
No, sir. It is 2:30, sir.
Okay, all right, 2:30. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah,
So we
I got
have one presentation session. After that, we will be joining for this valedictory address, and we would
Right.
like to see you there, sir.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much for
much.
your presence today, sir.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I'm
Thank you.
inspired. I'm inspired. I must thank you all, and my special thanks must go to the organizers and the audience here. Wish you
Definitely,
luck.
sir.
I wish you all the best. Good luck. Bye. Allah
Thank you,
Hafiz.
sir.
Namaskar.
Pleasure is ours, sir. Thank you, sir. Um, if participants, those who would like to do paper presentation in this final session, you can join in just 10 minutes with a new link that is given there in the brochure, separate link that is provided in the brochure. Meet you there in the fourth session. Thank you all.